Hi, and welcome to Rise, Heal, and Grow. I'm Leah M. Hill. This show is a podcast production of Apollo Sunrise Center, which is a health, wellness, and spiritual retreat center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. On this show, we shine the light on those who nurture wellness and inspire positive change. My guest today is Katie Quinn. She is a medium and a death doula who supports clients before death, during transition, and throughout the grief journey. Welcome, Katie.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. I'm really excited to talk to you because there's like so much that I've heard about you. We've only met like briefly before, but I know a little bit about you, but then just learning more about you before today, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much I want to talk about, but we'll get started with your journey. You had spent like 30 years as a CFO.
Yes. Yep. First. And I am still doing that part-time. And I really, as the journey goes with my CFO, I use my intuition to really understand what's going on with the numbers and what's going on with people and my investigation skills in the CFO work to understand that they're all correct and everything is correct.
That's really interesting because that's what I was wondering, like, how can you, because I had, even as an intuitive medium, many years in the corporate world and sales and marketing and everything, and it was like, how do you blend that, or how do you merge those two aspects from this very structured CFO? I mean, you can't get much further from psychic medium than being a CFO. So it's like, you know, these two very seemingly opposite kinds of career paths that you blend together in one.
Yes, I kept it secret for many, many years.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
It wasn't until I would say 2017 where I really started talking about it to my clients and saying I'm both. It's not one or the other.
Not one or the other. And you can't entirely, I know I for myself had tried for years growing up to shut it off, but you really can't, right? So you can't. So it's kind of like, you know, it's who you are.
Yes.
And it's something that you also knew about from the time you were a child, right?
Yes. I spoke to my mother's mother when I was little. Okay. She passed away when I was 10 months old. And I would speak to her in the living room. And my mom would get stricken with grief and leave the room. So she would get mad. And I thought that everybody would get mad if I started talking about it.
Oh, so she knew she knew that you were connecting with her mother at the time who had passed away, but she was probably still struggling with the grief
very much
process.
So. Very much so.
And so you took that reaction as like a negative, like, oh, not a good thing to talk about, right?
It wasn't until I was a high schooler that I would go to my friend's grandparents passed away, and I would go to the wakes, and I would sit in front of the coffin, and I would know, oh gosh, I'm talking to this person.
Oh, right.
And I really understood from there what was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of was, I get that too. You know, it's kind of like as a child, you don't understand. It's just like natural. You don't understand the reactions that you get from people and that they're not always positive or they're not always welcoming.
That's right.
And then, so I had struggled too through the teenage years and young adult years. That was when I was really trying to shut it down and not wanting to connect. So what was it that changed for you that you began that process of accepting yourself?
I moved to Beverly in 2012 and I got my Reiki master and I got an IET course and a mediumship course. And all three of those things in 2012 got me to really open up my channel and really connect to who I am. And I was getting older and wiser, and it's you accept the things pieces of you that you have.
I agree. I think as you get older, you start to accept yourself a little bit more. But that was a lot all in 1 year to go through all that. I'm like, wow, I mean, I did the Reiki journey and all that, but it was like, it was a lot more, was phased out. You know, it was a lot longer period of time. But I did notice, and I agree, that it really helps you accept yourself for who you are. It's kind of like just being around people that are totally get you. That is like, it's not like what you're doing or what you're sensing is wrong or bad or hurtful in any way. Correct. It's like people that just get you, and it's so welcoming, I think.
And the way that I understand where spirit is and in my readings is I use my chakras in my hands. So I'm spatially understanding what's happening. So when I'm talking to spirit, I'll close my eyes and put my hand out, and then that's who I speak to.
Wow. Okay. So this is interesting. I want to know about it. So first of all, for those who might not be familiar with the chakras, so the chakras are the energy centers that we normally think of as in the center of our body, like along the lines of our body.
Correct.
But we also have chakras in our hands. So you're using the chakras, the energy centers in your hands, to sense the actual spirit energy.
It feels like I'm touching Jell-O.
Really?
Yep. When I put my hand out, and I can sense that they're all around me.
Okay. And then at that point, are you, connecting, like hearing the words, or do you see? How does your intuition typically come to
I
you?
use my feelings and my knowing about the words that are coming through. And then when I spatially remote view into someone's house or different houses that they've been associated with, I will use my knowing that the couch is right here, there's a refrigerator right here, and then just describe the scene as I see fit.
As you seeing it,
and hearing it, and feeling it, excuse me. I don't hear it with my ears.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
And I don't, some people have with their third eye movie that.
That's what I have, yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I get.
I'm so jealous.
No, I'm really fascinated by how you do this with your hands. I'm like, oh my gosh. That's what I have the screen in my head, so I see everything. So if I do, and for those who aren't familiar with remote viewing, it's really putting your awareness in another space, like say someone's house when you're not physically there, and being able to describe something. Maybe like I've done it to help someone find a lost object that was very valuable in the house and things like that. But are those the kinds of things that you would use the remote viewing for?
Yes,
Yeah.
and to set up the scene about what's happening in that person's life.
I see.
So my client would ask about their mom or grandmother, and then I would go back into their home.
Oh,
or if
okay.
my mother was always in my client's house,
Right.
where they are in their house.
Yeah. And
Which
that
is
just
lovely.
helps them, like a validation as well, it sounds like, too. So there are so many misconceptions, let's say, about what people think of us as mediums. So are there any that you face on a regular basis that people kind of say, well, this is what you do, but it's really not? Or what do you think?
Sometimes my speech isn't impeccable when I'm channeling. So if I talk about, I was raised Catholic, so in our religion, the Bible is something that's very important and something material that you can really get your fingertips on.
Right.
In other religions, it is not. So if I say the wrong word and people correct me and say, nope, it's the Quran or something else in their other religions, and I don't repeat that it's the Bible, but it's the significance of the Bible.
Okay.
That's the most important verse, the literal translation.
Right. I get you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very interesting because, I find that what people I always felt like had a misconception of was that I guess you could, like, you seeing people all the time, and how do you go to the grocery store and do your normal life and everything, or do your work as you work as an accountant, as a CFO. It's like, how do you do that? You can't possibly do that, but it's like you just learn to manage it. Is that right?
Yes, and I also do a meditation to get in and out of my channeling pieces of it.
That's it, to have a little ritual.
Really be separate from it. I will say when I'm doing my CFO work, I am dialed into my computer, so there's no distractions, and I usually thicken the focus world.
Right.
So if I can focus
Maybe
on the thing that I'm working on, that works.
Right, like the left brain, right brain, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, and I know people have asked me, I'm curious about this too, when you're in that channeling, intuitive mediumship mode, would your brain even work in your CFO job? Or it's I feel like I can't even do simple math in my head when I'm channeling. Right,
No,
you're the same way.
absolutely not.
That's what I think. All right, thank you.
I lose time. I
Right.
lose the time of the day.
Yes.
I lose a lot of things when I'm in that
Yes,
channel.
it's like anything in that left brain kind of thing just like steps aside.
Yes, goes away.
And then you're in it. So that's very interesting, but you have this ability to switch back and forth in your brain. That sounds like you practiced that and have been able to do that over many years.
It's been really amazing, and it's been really fun to do.
Right, right. So I want to talk about your work as a death doula. Yes. And can you explain for people who aren't familiar with that term and what it is, like what it is and what it means for people?
So a death doula will help people. So there's a couple of different aspects to being a death doula. You're helping the family members of the person who's passing away prior to their death. Then there's a small window of where I really try to help the person who's passing have their soul leave their body. And to me, they go over this little bridge that has 15 rungs on it, and they hit the ascension point. And then when they get to the ascension point, they go right up through the light, and that's where their first landing is. And that's typically where people say the pearly gates, or they see Jesus. In my world, they see 6 people.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So that process is about 2 to 4 weeks in all of that, and then they go further into the universe and convert back more into love. So helping the family members witness their loved ones go through that experience, and then the third piece of it is after the person has passed, to then really support the loved ones after they have experienced watching someone pass away.
Right. Wow. So you're there through that. It could be a very long process.
Yes.
It could be a short process too. You know, you never know. But I'm just like, my mind is reeling because there's so much involved in that. First of all, you've got, the person who's making the transition, but then all the family dynamics too.
Yes.
Which can be
crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to find the right word, but I think you're right. It could be crazy.
It can be overwhelming. So what I just revert back to over and over again is stating that this is a time for love.
Yeah.
And if we stay in love, and if we really stay connected,
right,
as a family and leave everything out at the door,
right,
I hopefully, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes, to get a room full of people, to pause their grief and their madness or sadness, or there's so many things that
and
go along with them.
Whatever happened in the past, that kind of thing, that you believe that it would make not only the transition of that person who's making the transition easier, like making it flow easier, but does it also help afterwards, those who are left here, to like the family members, to kind of maybe find some peace again if they haven't had peace in a long time?
Yeah, I find it softens the hardness of the death. And if we can soften the blow just a little bit, and it is an experience that they'll remember that as a positive one through a very negative experience.
Right.
For the most part, it's very negative.
Yeah. So typically for you, like your client might be one of the family members who says, okay, like let's just say our father or whatever is ready to make the transition. We want you to come in and help us.
Yes.
But there might be other family members who don't agree.
Correct.
But you come in because you've been invited by someone to help bring the love into this transition and make it as smooth and peaceful as possible. And so you do that also using Reiki as well.
I do. The way that sometimes I bring all of my tools and I show up with everything. Sometimes I have to just show up as me, as Katie Quinn, as the professional, and not so much in the spiritual world.
Okay.
So we can all take our hands and rub them together and feel the heat. And when you do that, you can put that on someone's body or your family members around you. And I really am saying as many times as I can, just feel the love and give the person who's passing lots of love.
Lots of love, yeah.
And that can take away some of the skepticism and argumentativeness of we're bringing in someone that has all these rituals, and I don't have to say the word ritual. I can just say, let's start from love.
Yeah. And don't have to worry about the what it means or what it's going to mean after the person passes and all that stuff. Just in that moment. Making it easier. So I'm also interested about how you described what you see when the person passes. And we also talk, or hear sometimes about people doing their life review, which is sort of like, to me, is like a movie, like watching the movie as the person reviews this current life. Do you experience that as well, or have a sense of that?
Yes, when they hit the ascension point and they see there's 6 people and typically Jesus, then they go on to other steps and I lose them. I can't connect to them while they're doing their life review.
Gotcha.
And they're starting to transition into love again in the universe. Then depending how long that takes, then I can connect with them after.
Okay.
So there's a chunk of time, and sometimes it's a long time, and sometimes it's short. But
that's really interesting.
I can get them on their journey to a point, and then they got to go.
Yeah,
they got to do it.
Walk that. Yeah. They walk that path as well. So, and do you also find, like, I'm thinking both of my parents passed in different ways. So, my mother, she wanted all of us kids, me and my siblings, like, with her. So, and I live, almost 3 hours away. So I had to, like, I knew it was coming, and we had to, I had to get in the car and drive there. And I was like, hang on, please wait for me to get there. And she did. And then she passed, like, within an hour or so after I got there. And then my father was the opposite. We were all there, all around the bed. And then as soon as everybody went to get, breakfast, go to the store, then he passed. So it was like he needed us not to be in the room.
Yes.
And my mother needed us all to be there. Do you find that as well? It's like the person who's making that transition kind of makes that choice?
Yes, I do believe that they are making that choice. It really is an individual choice. And it's not something that I believe they know consciously before they start to pass away. Some people make the choice before and say, I don't want to have anybody in the room. I'm just going to heaven quickly by myself. But some people are not as conscious as they could be to make that decision.
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Right.
Depending on their sickness.
Exactly. Yeah, because my dad was basically mostly not conscious during that time.
Right, correct.
So, but I think there was the part of him that knew, like, if we were all in the room, it was going to, like, keep his energy here. Right. And he was really ready to let go. So as soon as we all left, it was like, okay, and he left.
I'm good.
And that was it. So how can you help someone who might be struggling with this problem, like struggling to let go? Like they've been sick for a long time. They know they're ready. Maybe they're struggling because of some of their own emotions, feelings of grief or fear or guilt or anything. Is there anything you do to help that person in that transition?
Yes. With the person who's passing away, I say to them that I see them and that I hear them and that I'm here for love and that it is okay to go.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes it takes just another person out of the family realm to acknowledge that they are going to pass away. And when you do that with just care and acceptance, then it can fuel their anxiety or their release of it and say, okay, someone acknowledges me that I really am passing away. And that can be really hard when it's a child or when it's a husband and they have 3 kids. And I can be that person in the room that says, I accept you, I see you, and I love you, and it's okay to go.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So it also brings back the other thing I'm thinking of when my father made his transition. He was in hospice for a little while, and I just remember the woman who was in charge of the hospice program calling it his celestial graduation. And I was like, I have never heard that. That was so interesting. She's like, we're all here to talk about your dad's celestial graduation. And we were all like, what? And plus he was in the room at the time and sort of conscious. He wasn't really. Right. And we're all like, what? Like, you're saying this? It was like just having someone like you just described outside the family who's seeing what's going on and naming it.
And naming it.
And calling it out and naming it and saying, yes, this is what we're doing here. This is why we're here. This is what this is about. So there wasn't this hush hush talking about it in the other room and hoping he doesn't hear or anything. It was like right out in the open.
Yes. And to acknowledge that the next place he's going to is so magical and lovely and loving. And all of our experiences we bring to heaven with us, but we don't have to bring all of that pain, and we can process the pain when we get to heaven and recognize what a beautiful life we've lived.
Right. And we get some help too on the other side. I think
side.
that's the other fear. There's a lot of people think like, okay, I'm going and I'm off on this journey by myself, but I don't believe we are. And I think you don't either. It's
Correct.
like, no, from what I've seen, it's like, no, you're not alone on the journey.
No.
You have support. And it still allows them to come back and visit.
Yes.
Like with your grandmother. And do you have those experiences with some of the people that you've helped transition as well? Like, do they come back and visit you or?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely have a whole parade of people in my corner that I have helped
like that.
transitioned.
A parade.
Yeah. They're all right there because
Yeah.
they're all around me all the time. And my
Right.
belief that there is no time. So they can be with me and they can be with you. Your dad can still be with you and he can still be with me too.
Right.
At the same time.
I think, and that's really hard for us to get. To get that, like how can how can the Spirit be with you and me, or even think of Jesus, like how can Jesus be with everybody, at the same time?
Yep.
But you're right. If there is the sense of time that we have that's very linear and we think of it as chronological, if that didn't exist and everything's at the same time, of course.
Yes. How magical is that?
Right.
Yes.
Right. It's magical. And so talk about a little bit about the help that you provide these family members after the transition takes place. What kind of things do you do, or how do you help them with their process?
I do a lot of listening and a lot of eating with them. I show up hungry almost wherever I go. So if someone wants to feed me, I'm eating whatever they're giving me.
All right.
And that tends to give a distraction to the person.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with a mom or a wife that's lost their husband.
Right.
They want to be doing something.
Yeah.
So
it helps.
It helps.
The processing and
So if we can grab a cup of coffee or cake or lasagna, whatever the case may be, I'll go do it. And then it's a understanding that they need space and time to process their heavy emotions. And it doesn't matter to me how many times it takes for them to say, I still miss him, or I still miss them.
Right.
Because when you lose someone sometimes, you feel like they just left yesterday.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how long it's been.
It doesn't matter how long it's been.
Right.
So I don't mind hearing that they're still in turmoil and they're still in distress. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of feedback of saying, I can't say this to my girlfriends because I've already said it 1,000 times.
Oh, because they're thinking, my friends think I should have gotten over this by now. Right.
Yeah. So we dissipate some of the should-haves and the could-haves and the would-haves and just say what's present now and tell me your feelings from there.
Yeah, I love that. So you're holding the space for that person who's grieving and probably stuck in that grief.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter how long it has been. It's like you're holding that space for as long as that person needs it.
Yes.
That's it. That's so beautiful.
Magical.
And that's so important because we can't always give that to people.
Yes.
As well. So for those of us who might have, be related to or have, a family member who lost their loved one, what are some of the things that we should say or shouldn't say? Are there things that, when we're talking to the grieving person or want to provide some kind of help or compassion, is there something we should stay away from or what we should do?
I would say that there's two things. You should continuously tell them over and over again, I hear you, and keep on going. Keep on telling me more.
I hear you. Keep talking. Keep telling me more.
Okay.
So letting them talk as much as they need to talk. Okay.
And
that's good advice.
What I hear and what I've experienced is when people say, I can't imagine what you're going through. Of course, we can all imagine the worst. Though it's not a comparison of if someone's lost their husband.
Okay.
And you have not. And that person, you're telling that, you're in the conversation saying, I can't imagine what you've gone through.
Okay.
So that's not, it's the feedback that I get from a lot of widows is that that's not helpful.
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful.
Yeah, I could see that. Because it kind of doesn't really, it's like, okay, the person's trying to imagine, but they can't.
Yes.
And there's no way they can imagine anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not
a comparison.
So don't say that, right? Because it feels like a comparison. Should we say things like, well, he's in a better place now?
I could take that on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, not sure.
If the person's not ready,
Yeah.
if the person isn't focused on where they are and how they're feeling,
Oh, right.
it's a harder sell to say, they're in heaven, versus I hear what you're saying, I feel what you're saying, I
Yeah.
can understand what you're saying,
Right. Right.
and validate their feelings over where they are physically.
Yes, that's important. I can see that definitely. Right. Just validate wherever they are now.
Yeah, accept them as where
They are, right. Even if it's been what we consider a long time since
Yes.
they've passed. And even if it's, I know you work with people, but even if it's like a pet and people
Yes.
are like, oh, you should have gotten over your cat by now or something. But I know, and I talked about it on my show, I lost my beloved cat and it was a long time, and I still don't think I've really gotten over it because it was like we were soulmates, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like if somebody had said to me, you should have gotten over it by now, I would have been really upset. So
Yeah.
that's good
yeah.
advice, just to think about that. But I think the most important thing that you talked about is just letting the person talk. Give them their space of whatever they need for however long they need it.
Yes.
And you are not the judge of how many months or years they should be grieving and then they should be okay. It's like, let them have whatever it is that they need to have.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best way.
Wow. Okay. So all of this experience that you've had as a death doula, what has it taught you about life and living?
Really not to sweat the small stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And really try to, my purpose here is to be of service and to be more of service than hiding away and being just not myself, and really be yourself and
Right.
go out and live.
Yeah.
Every
That's
day.
beautiful. I love that
Yeah.
because we hear that, like, don't sweat the small stuff, but we get stuck in that in our day-to-day lives, and we get stuck into the, that person that made me angry or this thing that happened or whatever. But looking at the big picture
Yes.
about, really what we're all here for, even if we don't know our purpose or something, like what we're all here for, and looking at the big picture that we are, I believe, connected. We're all connected, even
Yes.
if we don't feel like it. But I think it's the separation that we put in our society of I'm different than you, or you're different than me, or I'm good, you're bad. All those things
Yes.
that we create that just separates our culture and causes more pain. I think what you're saying is this experience of all these years of watching this transition, dealing with all this grief, has taught you how to live.
How to live and how to accept myself and how to just be myself in all of the moments.
Wow.
And let me shine through, and not the constructs or the beliefs, and
Yeah,
just really be in love.
right. And to be present, definitely. So this was so wonderful having you on the show today. And before we leave, Katie, though, I want you to just share with everybody how people can find you, contact you, connect with you.
Yes, my website is katiequinnmedium.com.
Okay.
My cell phone is on there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And I'm on LinkedIn.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah.
It was great to have you. I feel like I learned so much today. I haven't really been exposed to that world that you are in as a death doula and going through that journey. I've only had my own personal experience, but for you coming in and helping people from the outside is such a blessing for so many families.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me. This has been an honor.
Well, thank you for doing what you do. I think we love that. And thank you, all of you who are watching and listening today here on Rise, Heal, and Grow with Leah M. Hill. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you're joining us on today. And please join us again soon. We have lots more episodes coming up.